Yo, what did I just watch? I have just a few thoughts. I just watched the movie Don't Worry, Darling, as you know by the title of this video, and I don't know what to think exactly. It's a weird situation because I overhyped this movie. I've been wanting to watch this movie for months, and then it came and went in movie theaters, and I just never got myself ready to go see it. Today was just the day where I was like, you know what? It's on HBO Max now. I might as well just sit down and watch it. It's my day off. I know I want to make a video about this movie. Like 20 minutes into the movie, I was like, there's not a whole lot happening. I don't know if I have material to make a video about. And oh boy, was I wrong, because this movie was bad. It was just not good. There was like maybe 5% of this movie that I liked and was good. Like for starters, I definitely overhyped this movie, not because necessarily of the trailer or the movie itself. Like, don't get me wrong, the trailer was actually pretty interesting because it was teasing a story that, you know, it's a pretty classic storytelling like technique, I guess, of where you're going in just as blind and just as lost as the main character, and then you learn everything as the main character learns it. And that's a great way to tell a story. That's what I thought this movie was going to be. It wasn't. I mean, it tried to be, but it was very... I wasn't confused. I understood basically everything that was going on, but the movie itself was just a little confused. It didn't really know what it wanted to be. It's like it wasn't its own thing. Like, don't get me wrong, I know there's not a lot of original movies out there anymore. Like, there are, don't get me wrong. But a lot of them, it's just like, we told thousands, millions of stories over the last millennia or whatever. So like nothing is going to be wholly original for the most part. But like this movie was just like prideless almost. Like it took from The Matrix, it took from Get Out, and the one that I thought was the weird was like it kind of was like the Truman Show almost too, if you think about it. It was weird because like that movie also had like kind of a 50s aesthetic to it, but it was fake. So that's kind of the vibe I got. Like it was trying to be the Truman Show. What the movie I think about when, you know, you're just as lost. Well, I guess you're not just as lost with the Truman Show because you know it's a TV show, but you're still learning stuff as Jim Carrey was learning. I kind of lost my point here, but that's fine. I'll just keep moving on. I'm not restarting. Weirdly enough, I thought there was only two actors in this movie that did a pretty decent job, and it's not for the reasons you think. I thought Florence Pugh, normally I love Florence Pugh. I don't think she was that good in this movie. I kind of felt like she did not care about being in this movie. That's just the vibe I got. Same for Chris Pine. Harry Styles, this is like the first movie I've seen him in. I know he was in the end of the Eternals, but I don't really count that because it was like a 20-second scene. I thought Harry Styles, for his first feature movie, I think it was his first feature movie, he was pretty okay. You could tell he was putting in the effort, except for, okay, I'm gonna get a little spoilery, but I won't spoil the movie. When it showed like who he really was, I don't know, it was a little weird. The makeup was a little weird, and he did an okay job, but that's when it kind of lost me with him. But I think the person that did the best in this movie, and this is going to be out of left field, was Nick Kroll. And that's because I feel like he realized this is kind of a dumb movie. So I'm just going to put my own Nick Kroll spin on it. And he just kind of did whatever he wanted whenever he was on screen. I am not kidding you. When he wasn't in a scene that would have made sense for him to be there, I was missing Nick Kroll, adding his like just Nick Kroll humor to the movie, which was funny. I think he should have been in it more, but you know what? That's besides the point. So yeah, we talked about how the premise is a little tired. Literally, the movie just takes from other movies that did it better. I don't know. The whole premise of the movie actually was kind of tired. I get it. Like, oh my god, like they were gaslighting like all the women in the Victory Project. But like they just didn't do a good job of gaslighting the women or the main character, Alice. Like clearly she saw the one character like kill herself, and then she wasn't even in the movie anymore, which I thought was a little weird, knowing what we know about what the Victory Project actually was. I thought we'd at least see her character again. Sorry, I don't remember her name. I think it was Mary. Um, but yeah, I don't know. They just weren't doing a very good job of convincing, especially since halfway through the movie, we realized that they could just like make Alice forget everything. But instead of doing that, they just tried to gaslight her and be like, "Oh no, you're crazy. That didn't actually happen." Frank was even like, "Oh yeah, I know you know, but I don't care because I'm interested in seeing how you handle this." And then I feel like when they had the dinner scene, she was explaining pretty well that like things weren't as they seem, and nobody was believing her, and that's just because she was a woman, I think. And because like obviously they're going for like the 50s, where a housewife aesthetic, obviously, which was a little weird. But I don't know. I don't think they handled the gaslighting very well, which is something I didn't think I'd be saying about gaslighting. And then there was just some things in the movie that didn't make any sense to me. Like, what the fuck was the plane crash? Like, was that real or was that not real? Maybe I'm just missing something, but like, clearly it had to be real because that's what got her to go exit the city. Sorry, this is spoilers from here on out. That's what got her to exit the simulation for the first time and to start regaining her memories. Which now I'm kind of confused about. Is the reason she started regaining her memories because she escaped the simulation? That's what I am not entirely sure about. Like, and what happened with Mary? Why did she start like realizing nothing was as it was? I guess if that makes sense. It just like it didn't really dole out the information very well, and it was kind of confusing. Maybe I would understand it more if I were to watch it again, but I don't think I want to watch this movie again. But then, like I said, there is one other thing I kind of thought was a little bit interesting, and it was with Harry Styles' character, and it was with Florence Pugh's character. This was after, I mean, it wasn't a lobotomy, but electroshock. It was, sorry. It was after she got the electroshock therapy to make her forget everything again, which I thought was a little dumb because they literally did that. They wasted our time with that. She literally got the electroshock therapy, and within literally 30 seconds, she was back to being like, "Oh no, this is all fake." They could have just skipped that whole thing and just jumped right into their argument, which is where I thought the interesting ideas started happening. Because like that was the flaws with people who were all like, "Oh yeah, the 50s were the best time." I don't think people think that anymore, but that was like the kind of the general thought in like 90s movies. I'm thinking of a Blast from the Past with Brendan Fraser when the 50s aesthetic was what everyone quote unquote wanted because it was the ideal time to be alive. We know that's not true. But I don't know. I thought that I don't remember the main character, the character's name, but Harry Styles' character was all like, "I'm doing this for you. I don't want to go to my job, but we're doing this so we're happy. You weren't happy in your real life. Yeah, you get to just stay here in the simulation and be happy all the time. I'm doing it for you." And that's actually very interesting because that was the concept people thought we liked about the 50s, where like the woman was the stay-at-home wife, where the husband would go to his job to support his wife so she didn't have to work, and that was kind of an interesting like twist on that idea. But then it just didn't work because like he was doing the exact same thing to her, which I guess was the idea, where it's like she was stuck in the simulation doing what she wanted to do so he would be happy. So I get where they were going with it. I think they just got it a little mixed. It didn't really work very well. I did see what they were trying to do, and that was interesting. But then they went ahead and just killed him. Which apparently just kills you in real life. But whatever, that's fine. It honestly seems like this movie was kind of trying to set up like a sequel where it would take place with her in the real world or something. And then they went and just killed Frank. Which also gets into a little bit of stuff I thought I was getting about the movie. Like I thought, I really do feel like I guessed a lot of what was going to happen in this movie. I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure Frank, who's Chris Pine's character, he was wasted in this movie. I was like, oh, he's just like not the guinea pig. He's just like the figurehead. I was like, I am like fully convinced that his wife is actually the one behind all of this. Because like when they were like shouting at the party, like, whose world is this? Ours. I could see she was mouthing ours in the background while she was sitting there. So I was like, okay, I see what they're maybe doing. Maybe they're setting up where she's the actual villain. But then it ends up with her just killing him. And it kind of seemed like she was just waking up too from being brainwashed or whatever in the simulation. Yeah, I don't know. But I think the funniest thing about this movie was the one thing I 100% guessed was going to happen, but I was like, please don't happen because that would be so dumb, was when it was the last 10 minutes of the movie when she was like driving up to the main building. I forgot what it's called, but she's trying to escape the simulation, obviously. When she has all the cars behind her, sorry, not all of them yet, it's just two of them, like they're coming up alongside, I'm like, they better not have her just slam on the brakes and have those two cars crash into each other. And what happens? Not 2 seconds later, she slams on the brake and the two cars crash into each other and explode. And one of them dies. And it's just so funny too, because these are like 50s style cars. And that wouldn't happen in a 50s style car. So I don't know. I guess this is a sci-fi movie because it kind of is, because it's almost like an extended Black Mirror episode, just not done very well. And they even gave Harry Styles, his character, a British accent, even though his real character, like his avatar, has the British accent. The actual character in the real world chose to have a British accent, and I'm like, what is this? Is he trying to be like a Black Mirror thing? I don't know. I don't think so, but that's kind of the vibe I got. And just the last dumb thing in this movie. Well, there's one more, but the main dumb thing is she, like, after she causes those two cars to explode, she's just like traveling up the spiral mountain, right? There's nobody, I mean, there's people chasing her, obviously, but she has such a head start. There's no chance they're going to catch up to her. That's when the writing gets in the way, and they're like, okay, well, we have to end the movie a little more suspensefully, and even that they fuck up. Because they literally have her just like all of a sudden look to the left, and then all of a sudden she just like steers right into the mountain, crashing her car. So she has to just run around the spiral mountain. But because of that, they stopped the other cars from coming because she crashed in a way where all the cars couldn't get past her car. So all the guys in the red suits had to get out of their car, and the funniest scene in the movie was all of them in their red jumpsuits running up the mountain to try and catch her. And like again, she should have been able to get out easily, but then, baiting us for a sequel, they catch up to her, and they show the little blood spurt that they showed when Harry Styles' character died, and you're like, oh no, is she alive? They're setting up for a sequel. But then, as the credits start to roll, you hear Alice go, breathing like she just escaped. So they baited for a sequel, but they got cold feet, and they're like, this movie's not getting a sequel. We just have to show that she escaped. But that is enough for there to be a potential sequel, I guess. Because that could be interesting. Nick Kroll's character is still alive, so let's see a sequel called Don't Worry, Krolling, where we just focus on Nick Kroll's character, because he was funny. I mean, obviously, he is evil. Because you know what? That just reminded me. The main movie that this movie took from was The Stepford Wives. Duh. This movie was The Stepford Wives meets Get Out meets The Matrix meets The Truman Show. And it was a mess. I had to get all of that off my chest. Let me know what you guys thought. I want to see some action in the comments, so I would love, like, if you guys write something in the comments, that would let me know you guys are watching. So just, I don't know, I want to have a conversation about this movie. So just leave a comment, tell me what you thought. Those are just some of my thoughts. What are yours? Bye.